do a small exercise? Those who have a notebook probably can tear up some pages and give to your neighbors, but pen is required. Pen or pencil or whatever.
You just circulate the notebook around and get back empty notebook. Everyone needs one paper?
Yeah, one paper will do. Okay, can I start? Hello? Hi? Hi?
Yeah.
Can I start?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, hi, good afternoon. Actually, I didn't plan to do this session today. I planned to do it probably 10 days from now, but I heard that there is a 30-minute slot. I just went and grabbed it. Okay, I wanted to share what I attended a workshop by an author called David Allen. This is the guy. He has written a very famous book called Getting Things Done in 2002. And the book is sold millions of copies, translated into 30 languages, and he's super popular. And he is doing this as a workshop, and he has his own David Allen Corporation kind of a company which is doing it for thousands of people as a they do this workshop. They go to corporates, they go to individuals, children, housewives, all sorts of people attend his workshops, and there is a company which is providing the same workshop in Bangalore as well. And that's a company which organized for this event, and he's coming to India for the first time, and then I attended that, and the session was fantastic. So I've read this book before, probably some 7-8 years back, and I liked the book at that time, but I kind of dropped the book after that. I mean, I liked it, I followed some of the good practices from the book, but I didn't do anything beyond that. Because when I read only the book, it felt like one among many books. I mean, there are many techniques like what I'm going to explain now. GTD or getting things done is nothing great or nothing new from that perspective. There are many techniques like that, and some of the techniques I am following, some of the techniques you are following already. It's not like this guy has invented atomic bomb or something like that. It's something very practical, very simple, and if you think about it, you will think, hey, I could have written this book. I mean, it's like that. But the thing is, he went ahead and wrote it first, so we have to respect him for that. So he started his speech with that. He said nothing new in this book, and that's how I also felt when I read the book. But after he did a 1.5 hour session, and after that 1.5 hours, I felt this book is something much more than what is printed in the book. In fact, I bought another copy just to get his autograph, even though I have the book already. The session was so impressive because, I mean, it's a lot more interesting when the author himself comes and explains what is in his mind, right? However great author he may be, but he can only put certain things in paper. The rest of it is in his mind, and that was the experience that I had, and it was lovely. So what I thought is I'll just go ahead and then do a small session on that. We'll also do a small workshop, very small. We can't probably extend it too much, but the good thing is, whatever I'm going to tell you, you can go back and do it in your own desk. You don't need me. Probably, if possible, buy this book. It's a very good book. But if you can't buy the book, that's perfectly fine. You just go and search for Getting Things Done GTD in Google. There is enough material, there is videos and stuff like that. You can just listen. So from that perspective, it's not very difficult. It's just some common sense approach that we are taking. Okay. So before that, I'll just give a clue about what is this all about. So Getting Things Done. I mean, that's the simplest name that we can. So the concept behind which this entire book is built is, how are we tracking what things we need to do? The question starts there. Okay, so different people use different approaches. Many people keep it in their mind. Now, if I ask each one of you, what are all the things that you need to do? Maybe as an employee of CRMIT, maybe as an individual person, maybe as a husband, as a wife, as a son, as a father, you all will be having different things. So if I give you a mic and give you 30 minutes, you all will be able to give you a big list of 150 or 200 items to do. That may be very simple, like on the way back home I have to buy 1 kg of rice. It can be as simple as that. Or I want to start a company and change the world. It can be as complex as that. So various kinds of things which are there in our mind continuously. The first concept that this book puts forward is, put all of them in writing. Put all of them in one place. Okay, that itself is a very big motivator, is the concept here. We use our brain to store things too, which is a totally wrong approach. Okay, brain, okay, if you want to use a computer as an example, there is a RAM in your computer, right? The RAM is meant for processing. RAM is meant for processing. Whereas there is another hard disk which is meant for storage. Okay, so there is distinct functions like that. RAM is for processing and this is for storage. When you swap it, there are ways in which you can swap it, but it won't be effective. So that way, the interesting quote which is there in this guidebook is, your mind is for having ideas, not holding them. That's a thing. So this technique, what it does is, it allows you to have a structured way of collecting everything in your mind, then categorizing it in a proper manner and going ahead and then doing it. Okay, there is suggesting a 5-step approach to this, and I'll just go through those 5 steps. Before that, I'll just give you a brief about these 5 steps. Those 5 steps are called capture, clarify, organize, reflect and engage. Okay, this is where I want you to do a small exercise. As I explain each one of these steps, you can just use the paper with you. Just try it with 5 things in your mind. Okay, like I said, each one of us will be having, according to David Allen's experience, each one of us are having anywhere between 160 to 250 things to do now in your mind. You don't realize it, but all those jota things, everything, if you combine, there are those many things that you need to do. Okay, don't use this exercise for writing all of them, it will take few hours. So what we will do is, we'll start with the first one, which is called capture. This capture step is very, very simple, no complexity at all. You are going to write everything on paper. In this case, it's not everything, only the first 5 that comes to your mind. When you think about it, those 5 may be personal tasks, they may be official tasks, don't worry about it, nobody is going to review your paper. Whatever comes to your mind first, when I say what you need to do now, please write it down. Just take a paper. I'll tell you after you have done this small exercise how to apply it in the big way. Okay, this exercise is more like a demonstration. The real practicing has to be done in a different level. That I'll explain after we have gone through these 5 steps. Just 5 things. It can be anything: personal, professional, hobby, whatever it is. Few more seconds. Like I said, nobody is going to review it. You can put something, because in the next steps you are going to use these steps. That's where I want you to write, and then we will proceed. Okay, now you can keep writing and listening. The important thing here is, this is something which gives you a comfort feel. Many times we have felt that, right? Someday you will be feeling very pressurized and so many things to do. You just take a paper, you just write, these are the 7 things I have to do today. Suddenly you feel happy. Suddenly you feel like I can do these 7 things by just putting it in paper. I have felt it that way many times. I want a paper in front of me in my desk and then write all those things. Then doing it is a separate exercise. But at least now I know clearly what needs to be done, instead of things coming and attacking me from all those directions. So that's the first step. So the first step what we have done is, we have just captured it. In the second step, we are going to clarify it. So you are going to take each one of those 5 items and you are going to ask yourself, okay, just one question. There is actually a small workflow kind of thing that I has given. I'll give this copy to you later. First question is, what is it that you need to ask? Okay, for example, somebody has written buy groceries. Okay, now what is it? What groceries you need to buy? So just try to elaborate it a bit and then have clarity in terms of what needs to be done. Again, you know it, nobody needs to tell you, because you know that has to be done. Sometimes you don't know, you only know that groceries ought to be bought. In that case, you call the person who asked you to buy the groceries and then, which groceries I have to buy? Is it in this denomination or 1 kg, half kg, whatever it is, you get more details and then you get clarity about what needs to be done. That is first question. Second question, this is the most important question, is it actionable? Okay? The theory is, many times we keep so many things in our mind which are not actionable. They are unnecessarily taking our mind share. So it keeps disturbing you, we keep worrying about doing something, but when you actually ask this question of what is it and is it actionable, you realize that, yeah, it is some worrying thought which is there in my mind, but probably there are no actions to it. Okay, so is it actionable? There are two things, yes and no. Okay, if it is no, easy, it goes out of your list. But don't just throw it, group it. Three ways in which you can group it if it is not actionable. That means you are not going to do anything about it. First thing, trash it. That means you have to throw it away further. You will not really think about that particular activity, it's gone from your list. That's called trash it. Second one is reference it. You are not going to do anything about it, but in future you may need this data. Okay? In that case, you will just file it. Okay, when I say filing, it may be physically going and putting it in a file, or clicking a picture and emailing it to yourself, or putting it in Dropbox, whatever it is. It all depends on what tools you use, but you have to keep it for future reference, and then it goes out of your list. Second. Third, incubate it. What we mean by incubate it is, someday it will come back to you. So, you are not keeping it for the purpose of reference, you are keeping it for the purpose of doing it later. This particular thing, maybe you will do it next month, maybe you will do it later, maybe you will do it 5 years down the line, whatever it is, you will just incubate it. Most of the diet plans go there. Okay, so that's a no part. If it is no action item, these are the three things you have to do. Trash it, reference it and incubate it. If it is yes, then there are three things you can do it. One is, can you do this action in less than 2 minutes? That's a formula that David Allen says. David Allen feels if something can be done in 2 minutes, you have to do it immediately. Don't postpone it. However unimportant it may be, if it can be done in 2 minutes, finish it. So that it goes out of your list. That's, basically managing our list is what we are talking about here, right? So, do it if it is less than 2 minutes. If it is more than 2 minutes, take two decisions. One, delegate it or defer it. Defer it means you will do it later. That is very clear to us. Delegate it means there is an action to be done, but it is not that you have to do that action. Somebody else can do the action. If it is official work, you can decide that, okay, this particular thing can be done by this person. Or if it is a personal work, you decide to give it to some contractor or whatever it is. Or you decide to give it to your wife or give it to your son or whatever it is. It's basically, you are able to delegate it. There are certain things you can't delegate it. You have to do it yourself. In that case, it is to be deferred. What do we do with the deferred things? We will see later. So now what you are going to do is, you are going to take those 5 items in your list and you are going to ask this question, what is it? Then, is it actionable? If no, you are going to do one of these 3, trash, okay, or reference, or incubate. In either case, it will go out of your list, write it off, it's gone. Okay, if it is actionable, then you will either do it, okay, no need to do it here, but assume that you are doing it, then delegate it, or defer it. In that case, we will come to the deferred items little later. Delegated items are out of your list. Go ahead and try that with those 5 items. If you do it for all 5 items, you will see the full this thing, because you will have a mix of answers. If you really don't want to do it for all 5 items, do it for 1 or 2 items, you will get that idea of how that it works. The third step is the most important step, so you need some items to go to third step. So don't trash everything and then say I don't have anything in my list. Please have 1 or 2 items left for the third step. That is important. When I read the book for the first time 7-8 years back, I was thinking of this delegate step, which was very, very interesting. But then there is a problem in that delegate step. If everybody keeps delegating, somebody has to do it, right, end of the day. So that is another trap we should not get into. So you should delegate it to the person with the right authority, right skill set, and the right responsibility. They should complete it. Even though you are delegating it, you are indirectly responsible for the completion of it. It doesn't mean I will delegate it to somebody sitting in one corner. You have to delegate it to a person who will finish it and the task will get it done. So that is also another important step. And those are the things you find in the book. The book is very detailed and he gives all these tips in terms of, okay, to whom I should delegate. Once I have delegated, what do I do? Do I go and check with them every 1 hour? Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? I read a fantastic quote 2 days back. Give work to a man and he will do it for sure. No need to remind him every 6 months. What? Not able to get it? Okay, fine. Finish it. Done? You have 2-3 items for the next step? Minimum? Okay. The third step, which is the most important step, okay, it's called organize. In this step, what we are doing is very, very interesting. He has actually, for each step, he has given something called as a worst behavior and a best behavior. In this step, the worst behavior and best behavior are so good, I just want to share it with you. Worst behavior is blended stacks and the best behavior is clear categories. So, anybody, how many of you write to-do lists? To-do lists. Write or probably put it in phone, that's fine. You all write, right? It's all mixed. That's the problem. That's what we call it as blended stack. What we'll do is, there will be one item to make a phone call, another item to email, another item to read something, another item to physically go and do something, and stuff like that. There are things mixed. In this stage, what you are going to do is, it's a workflow that will be for each individual. Nobody can tell you, these are the categories you should create. You will create the categories yourself. Sample categories are to call. Who are all the people I have to call? To email. Who are all the people I have to email? To read. What books I have to read or what articles I have to read. To write. Some documents I have to write. To review. Like that. These are all some of the examples. But in your case, it may be different. You may have to buy. Whatever it is. So categorize the items. Okay. When you are categorizing, he says, use something called context. For example, what are all the things you can do with a smartphone in your hand, put it in one category. So what is the benefit of it? Let's say you have 10 minutes and you have a smartphone in your hand, you can just take that list. All the items you can just start doing one by one. Not all the items, whatever you can do it in the time frame available. Otherwise, if you have a stacked list, you have to search. Oh, can I do it in phone? No, I can't. No, I can't. No, I can't. By the time you find it, you are already tired and you have wasted 5 minutes of that time that you have. So the idea is, do it as a context. Something you can do it in bus. Let's say you are traveling in bus every day 1 hour, 1 plus 1, 2 hours you are coming in bus. You can prepare a list of things you can do it in the bus alone. Don't put things for which you have to be physically there in the office in that list. Then that list will get confused. So the third step is, you are going to split these items into clear categories. I don't think in 5 minutes you will be able to create clear categories. Just have a look into it and then you think about how the categories can evolve. You won't be able to create categories per se, but think of the examples that I give. Things I can do in the bus, things I can do at home, things I can do in office, things I can do while traveling and stuff like that. So prepare a list like that and then accordingly you can just follow. Just try to browse through your list and then see what categories can be created from there. You can also use the computer tools for this purpose. For example, in Gmail, I use one tool. I use labels in Gmail. Whatever things that I have to reply to, those mails I put it under a bucket called to reply. And whenever I have, let's say 15 minutes time, I just click on that label name. I'll only get those mails to which I need to reply. Instead, if there are 1,500 items in my inbox and I have to scan through what items I have to reply, I'll waste so much of time. Whereas to reply is a separate thing. Similarly, somebody else may maintain for example, a freelancer who's managing everything from his inbox. He may put a thing called to invoice. These are the jobs which I completed, but I haven't raised invoice to my people. Or these are the jobs in which I invoiced, but I haven't got the payment. And these are the tasks for which I have got the payment. So basically, he's splitting the activities into different workflow groups, and those groups or categories will be specific to you. It won't be generic. Not everybody can follow the same groups. Okay. So we are done with the third step. Now I'll go to the fourth step. The fourth step is called reflect. This reflect step needs time. Okay, as the name suggests. So what it means is, many times we prepare lists, we prepare subcategories, we put items into it, but what happens is we go inside the list. Okay, that's a metaphor that David Allen is using. What happens is you are sitting inside the list and all over you things to do. Just imagine that you are sitting inside your things to do. as a result, what you do is you only work on things which are latest and loudest. That's a term that he uses. Okay, we all have seen that, right? We'll be working on something so busy, some email will come, you immediately want to reply to that email. It doesn't matter how important is what the task that you are doing, because it is latest. Sometimes it is loudest also, it shouts, it makes a noise, and you want to do it. And when you do it, by the end of the day, the most important thing that you are supposed to do, you got so many interruptions, and then finally you didn't do anything about it. So that's a problem. So by introducing this reflect, we are able to resist that temptation to work only on the latest and the loudest, and move away from the list, and then look at the list. Now you start seeing things in a different perspective. So he recommends that we do it every week. Spend an hour or two. In fact, originally I thought 2 hours for just reviewing the to-do list, it looked like too much. But when you think about it, he says 160 items are there in the list. Even if you take 30 seconds or 40 seconds per item to think about, do I need to do it, do I need not do, should I do it or should I not do it, and stuff like that, it will take 1 hour minimum, meaning 1 hour plus. So what he says is, on a weekly basis, you look at the list, and then that will give you a different perspective, and you will not be going purely by the latest and the loudest. You will have clear priorities. Hey, this is the important thing, and I didn't do it for so long. I mean, I see Sumesh, I will give you one example because it's related to Sumesh. Long back, I asked Sumesh to get one application form from his wife's bank branch to open one account. I even forgot the name of that account. That application form was sitting in my table from the day he gave it to me. He gave it to me very next day. From the day it is sitting there, and I know the last date is December 31st, and today is what, December 5th or 6th or whatever it is. And I only have 20 days, and I'm still postponing it, thinking I still have 20 days, I'll do it little later. So this happens. So there may be some of the important things like that, which you keep postponing, and then it's kind of getting into a mode. At one point you forgot, it's gone away from your brain, this thing, capacity. You forgot that item is not there. But when you do this reflect on a weekly basis, you look at those items and you are able to bring them back to priority. So now you are not really considering the latest and loudest as the most important. You are also considering things which you are keeping it on hold forever, and then you are trying to give a balance for both of them. Those who have worked with Java app servers will know this. How the sessions are treated by the Java app server. The longest session versus the session which came much earlier versus the session which has come just now, how it does the load balancing and then make sure that everybody gets a good share from that. I think we have to learn to do that as well. Okay, so that's a fourth step, which is called reflect. Again, you won't be able to do it with this exercise, but after this session, I suggest you go back and spend at least 30 minutes listing down your things and then following these steps. Then you will start thinking about them from a different perspective. With 2-3 items in the list, you can't think of perspective. You need 50 items. Then only you will be able to think from a different perspective. Now the fifth step is the simplest. Engage, do it, that's it. It's as simple as that. Now you have a list, now you have a context, now you have a subtopics, now you can just go ahead and then execute it. Okay, those are the 5 steps. Now before I open for questions, I just want to add a couple of more points which were interesting but didn't fit in these 5 things. He encouraged us to create a waiting list. What we mean by waiting list is, we are waiting for somebody else to do something. So this is the area where I do very bad. Okay, I can delegate, but what happens is once I delegate, I forget it. I leave the entire responsibility to the person to whom I delegated it to finish it, come back and then tell me that I did it. But the moment I delegated, I also have a responsibility to kind of check up and then see if that is done. So from that perspective, he encourages us to maintain a waiting for list. So what it means is, every time you delegate an item from your list, or every time you are deferring an item because you are dependent on somebody else. Okay. For example, let's say you have to pay some amount to somebody, but you can do it only after somebody else made the deposit to you. Now you didn't delegate anything to that person, but till that person does the deposit, you will not be able to issue the check to this person. So you are waiting for that person. So you might have delegated it, or you may be waiting for somebody else to do something so that you can do something. Some task is dependent on somebody else. So he encourages us to create a waiting for list, and in that list keep items and review them often, every week or every 2 days, depending on what is your comfort feel. So that way, I think you will be on top of things. You will be able to go back and check what is happening, so that you are not waiting forever. Or probably that person lost your item. Many times that happens, right? You are waiting for somebody to do something, and that somebody forgot entirely about it. So to avoid that, he encourages us to create something called as waiting for. And another thing is called projects. Okay, these projects are different from the traditional projects that we use. Coffee, we are almost done. Thanks. Okay, projects, it's different from the software projects, but in some way it's related. The term that David Allen uses for projects, it means items in your list which need more than one action item. Okay, for example, buy groceries is only one action item, it's not a project. Okay, of course. For some it is a project, that's a separate story. But normally one action item, you do it, it's gone, it's out of your list. Whereas some other item, for example, apply for some loan. For that, there are sub-items. Collect 5 documents, fill the application form, go to the bank physically, track with the agent whether the loan is approved or not. Check that. Okay, there are some steps that you need to follow. So what he wants us to do is he wants us to create a projects list. These projects list, each project may have immediate urgent actions to be done. Those actions will also appear in your to-do list. But keep projects separate so that you can scan the overall progress of the project also. Don't just focus on one item. For example, bring PAN card to office. That is one item. Whereas it is actually part of a project called apply for loan. You are bringing PAN card to office because you have to apply for a loan. Bringing PAN card to office, you have brought it. That's done, but it's not done. There, the next step is once the PAN card is there, click a picture and email it to the bank. That may be the next step. In that case, you should also look at the project progress, and each one of us are having projects. He was indicating that anywhere between 20 to 30 projects will be going on. The projects can be very simple or it can be very complex. For example, somebody constructing a house will have a very large project with a lot of things to do. Projects may have sub-projects, and those kind of classifications can also happen, and that's, I think you got the idea of what GTD is all about. Now the final point, how much time to invest for this? I am purposefully using the word invest instead of spend, because the idea is this definitely helps you have a perspective about the things you have to do, and it also, I have personally observed that doing a good time management will relax you for doing something which you never thought is possible. Okay? This is the biggest benefit. See, we all work for 8 hours a day. Some people work for 10 hours a day. Some people spend 2 hours with family. Some people spend 5 hours with family. So like that, there are some limited time is there. But the thing is, by doing this, the title of the book itself, they changed the title. Okay? Initially, the book title was called Getting Things Done Only. Now, in the last 10 years, you know what happened. And they've changed the title to The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. I think that's the main advantage of GTD. It removes the stress from your thought process, because you know these are the things to be done and things are under control, and just preparing the to-do list itself gave you so much of satisfaction. Just continue and then start clearing off items from to-do list. One thing I have observed is there is nothing equal to the pleasure you get when you strike off one item from your to-do list. But you keep experiencing it, and that gives you a totally different kind of a control, and then you are able to do things which probably you may want to write a book, you may want to start a fitness program, whatever it is for which you don't have the time. I think this is something which will get you that time. So I think that's a main benefit of GTD, and the book is a very interesting book. Even if some people can't read, it's a very big book. Some people can't read, but I encourage you to watch the videos, which are better than what I'm doing now. Watch the videos, they have given examples. Unfortunately, I didn't find any good software which helps you do this. Pen and paper is the best way to do it. That's what I have observed. Okay, thanks, and we can open for questions.